Guys, right before we start this video, two things I wanted to say. One is thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoy the content or if you find it helpful, the best thing you can do to help the channel out is to share it. So just stick a link on your social media or whatever and share it with people. That would be fantastic. Obviously, if you want to subscribe as well, subscribe as well. The other thing was a big shout out to the guys at EG Racing for their support on this build. It's not sponsored in any way, but we've used them for a load of the parts, mostly, nearly all the parts, and they've been great. It's quick delivery, real good help, real good advice, and even some bits when you buy a certain amount as well. So that's cool. Fortunately, it's not an EG, it's an EK, but you know. Anyway. Enjoy the rest of the build. In this one, we are doing getting the engine in, short shifter, and get the fuel tank down. Oh, and VTI brakes as well, so stay tuned. Right, so these are our Sport engine mounts, and I've laid them out in the way that they will be in the vehicle. So we've got our rear mount. So this mounts into the original mounting on the subframe and sits it over slightly for the K-swap mount. This is the one that goes onto the frame rail on the side and that you would drill through. Some people weld it, entirely up to you. And this one goes onto the gearbox of the K-Series engine, which means that this one here at the front is not used. So you can literally whip that off and get rid of that because you don't need it at all. So while I'm taking that off, I may as well take this manifold off and this one off as well, because obviously there's new braces, there's new engine mounts to go onto there. So this crusty old thing can go. So next up we're going to get rid of this clutch line that sits here, because obviously our gearbox on the K-Series engine is over there, and do away with this hard line that runs up to the master cylinder, and then we'll run the new braided line across here and round to the K-Series slave cylinder. And then once that's out of the way, we're going to start using a spot weld drill bit and take the spot welds out so we can remove this whole mount off of here. So as you saw, that old engine mount was so beautifully finessed out of the engine bay, and leaves us loads of room here for the new Sport mount. So the way to line this up so you know where to drill your holes is you've got the old torque mounts at the bottom here, and you can just put the bolts in for those. What I should do is line up one of these holes here, and then you drill the second one, drill this one out bigger, and that will then give you your bolt holes to go right the way through and hold this in place. Right, this mount is in and proper sturdy. So what we did, we drilled the holes in the top, we put our we put our bolts through, and they threaded through the captive where the torque mounts were before, and then we've put a nut and washer on there as well, so it's held in place super tight. Next was the back mount, which is nice and simple. We use these three bits here. It moves the mount over to here, and then there's a part on the engine which slots into that. And then this side mount literally just goes in and straight onto the box this side?
Yeah, box this side.
Straight onto the gearbox. So we'll show you those in a second. Let's use some YouTube magic to put these other two mounts in. So that is our rear mount. all hooked up and looking good. Just 3 bolts through there. This is our side mount, which I've just placed in there to show you where it goes. And let's do the same again to whack all the mounts onto the engine. So big mount part that sits up proud with the mount that sits here. The rear bracketry, 3 bolts, 2 at the bottom, 1 at the top here. And the top mount, which fits into the one that we cut and drilled through, that sits there. So all that will match up nicely. Got new hardware for all of that. Apart from this, for some reason, no idea why. Maybe we're missing one in the kit, I don't know. But this is now ready to go in the car. So let's hook up the engine mount and we can get it all dropped in. So we've got 2 mounts sat in, and because we're smart, we put this around the other mount. So we just need to brace the engine so we can get this one all buttoned up as well. That won't make any sense with that sound.
Somebody get that tongue out. Oh, full concentration, Faith.
Assume the position. Boom, there it is. All sat in there on its mounts. Nothing else supporting it. So, this is where the hard work, this is where the majority of the work starts, because we've still got to do all the wiring, including the conversion harness bits, the exhaust, the shifter cables, sort out something for the power steering as well on there. What else? Throttle cable, all of the brakes. So next we're going to put it up in the air, take all of the suspension off and change it for the VTI stuff. While it's up, we'll do the shifter kit as well. Yeah, but it's in the bay and it's getting closer. So next up, we need to be able to put the drive shafts into the hubs, and they won't fit these little ones, these little puny sources of discs. So we're going to change these out for the VTI ones, which are down there, and we're going to do some trickery with the EP3 drive shafts as well to make it all fit. So first of all, we need to get this one out, which is nice and simple. Just a 17mm there, another 17 here. 2 17s on the suspension. Now most of this is going to be swapped out later date for coilovers and decent, different brakes and braided lines and bits like that. And then you've got 14 on the back here. So let's see how quickly we can get this off.
One moment later.
One eternity later.
Fuck! It's not coming off.
No lettuce, that would be confusing.
Yeah, crispy lettuce.
Look at the size difference in those two. Now we'll have the stopping power we need for 200 and, what is it, 200 and...
I think it's 220.
Yeah. Now we'll have the stopping power we need for about 220 brake horsepower as opposed to about 84. It's not.
Oh, well,
yeah. Only be ecstatic when I'm filming.
Okay. Till
then,
I'm sorry about that.
Be boring.
Okay.
Be your usual self.
Fuck you.
Alright, so we're going to move on to the rear brakes and hub assembly, all this nonsense here. Should be nice and simple as well, actually. The fronts only took, I don't know, 15 minutes aside.
Yeah, we'll round it down to 5.
We'll round it down to 5. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Whole conversion, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because we've got the whole assemblies over there, we can actually undo all the bolts from here, off of the mount to the body, the bottom of the lower control arm here, and the top sort of camber adjuster bar there, and all that will come off. We don't have to worry about messing around with anything to do with the drums, because it looks like the mounting points for the brakes are the same too, which is good. But we do have to disconnect the handbrake cables, so this tray off, and it looks like everything we need is underneath there. There's a whole rear hub assembly out of the car, so undone at the LCAs, undone at the top camber, whatever that is there, top link, undone on the back in one here, which just had to undo these two and drop it down to get to, and then it is ready for the new one to go in. So all going well, the brake points should mount up exactly the same, and then everything else should mount up nicely. Oh, it's no red calipers, Jay.
Hey?
There's no red calipers.
Oh, fuck.
It's gonna go slow.
We've lost a lot of brake power there.
10 horsepowers. The power of 10 horses. This is public service announcement for anyone doing this swap. Make sure you get the right bolts for the right sides. So, not for the right sides. Make sure you get the right bolts for the right ones. So these ones, I don't know if it's a JDM to UK thing, or whether it's a VTI to non-VTI thing, but the threads are different on your bolts that come off. So you can't just take these bolts off and then use the same bolts to go back on, because the captives built in here won't like it. So if you're just going to gun it up, you will ruin it all. So remember, when you buy the hub setup, get the bolts with it and use those ones, not the ones you took off. But otherwise, we've now got a full VTI hub setup on here, and we're good to start making some drive shafts. Okay, so we have got the drive shafts from the Civic Type R, so the K20 ones. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to swap them over. This is from the passenger side of the EP3, and we're going to use it on the driver's side of the EG, this side. What we're going to do, we're going to swap out the end piece here, which is the CV joint and boot, for ones off of a VTI, so they fit our hubs, because you can see at the minute the EP3 K20 ones are quite a bit thicker, but this should click on to this drive shaft. So first thing we've got to do, get this boot off, get all the grease out, and get this CV joint off. Right, it is about midday, and I've just got here, and Jay will say he's been here for hours, but actually he's probably been about an hour, and he's probably half an hour that was chatting. But somehow the drive shafts are back in.
Yeah, amazing.
By themselves.
Some pixie hooked up the fucking handbrake as
well. That was me when I got here.
Oh, yeah, was it?
Yeah, of course it was. So yeah, the drive shafts are in and all in place, so it did work with just flipping them around left to right and putting the VTI CV joints onto each end. So that's all sorted and tied up. So drivetrain wise, we are hooked up to the wheels, and everything is good to go there. As Jay mentioned, he's just hooked up the handbrake cables from the back VTI hubs, and the cables are exactly the same. So make sure when you get a conversion, as well as coming with all the bolts, it comes with the right cables as well. And then I've just whipped the gear gator off, and the gear stick is out, ready to put our no cut. Is it no cut? Do they call it a no cut? Yeah, no cut shifter, which should fit all underneath the original cowling and look nice and OE. So let's have a look at that bad boy. Oh, it's a brighter option.
Yeah, you can go super bright.
Actually, it's probably about time for lunch, isn't it? Oh, definitely can't see anything under here. Where's the light?
That is a good question. You had it last.
Yeah, it might be in the car.
Really?
Might be. Okay. Let's get a light on this camera. Those two bolts there, and then we'll run forward to about sort of here, and we'll need to make the holes for those. So actually, if you hold it up a sec. So those, yeah, those two line up at the back, which is good. So we'll find some bolts for those and do those. And then we need to make the holes in the front. And it looks like this is threaded.
They are threaded, yeah.
So you come downwards, so basically mark the holes, drill it, and then bolt downwards onto this. Cool, that we can do.
If we drill up, we can go straight for the heater hoses.
If you want. I actually did that on my Civic before, not the heater hoses. I was drilling the seat, and I went through the fuel line that was like here. No, not the brake line, just the fuel line. Luckily I managed to find a compression fitting that would cure that, so I didn't have to take the whole fuel line out.
There we go. That's not going to draw.
Oh, I got sunshine. One skin. Two skin. Four skin.
Ah! Water everywhere.
I guess you. Close enough. It's a lot quicker than my ramp. Right, we should see Jay appear in this hole. Hello! Oh, hello! Ah! Ah! That actually scared me a little bit. Right, my holes are underneath the bit that I can't get to very easily, so you might have to bear with me.
That's helpful.
Gear stick?
Well, line up the ones that we do know line up.
Well, I can't line them up because I can't see them. They're from the bottom. If you just finger tight those bad boys. Hold steady. There it is in place. There's two bolts up from the bottom, two at the front there that go down from the top on the holes that we've drilled, and that is nice and secure. Mind your fingers. All the original trims back in. Let's stick this wrongly patterned gear knob on there. Oh yeah, beautiful. Trying to convince him to keep this steering wheel and stereo as well. I don't think he's going to stick with it. So the kit does come with like a bit that you can raise it up to about here if you want to have a different shifter. We'll have a play with that once everything's in place and we know exactly where the seat position is going to be and stuff like that. But for now, that'll do nicely. Okay, we've just whizzed the fuel tank out, and that is something we've got to do on this particular Civic because it's an EG3. So it didn't have the whole fuel pump sender setup that you usually see underneath the kidney plate in the back. It just has a basic regulator and fuel filter that goes on the lines. So we needed to change the fuel tank out anyway. So we're going to go on a little road trip in a Mo and pick up a new tank, pump, sender, and VTI lines maybe, hopefully, that we can replumb back in this place. But we'll give this a little spruce and clean while it's out, because it's very rare that you get to clean under your fuel tank. Thanks for watching, guys. In the next one, we will be doing first start for sure. I promise that. All right, we'll be getting clutch lines, brake lines hooked up, all the inlets and stuff done, wiring, loads of wiring. So we'll see you for that one. Hey guys, thanks for watching right till the end, and if you want to see any more from Build It TV, then click on either one of these two videos. Helps out a lot. See you soon.